million option with the Celtics for next season, but clearly it was for a reason. It worked out for him. Zach, what's your assessment of Charlotte's decision to gamble on Hayward here?
All right, let me defend the Charlotte Hornets a little bit. Do I think this is a good contract? Not really. Do I think it'll be like a trade asset in a couple of years? No. But it's not like the Celtics and the Pacers in a sign and trade were offering $80 million or $90 million. It was something over $100 million. So it's not like the difference was that big. And look, if you want free agents to come to Charlotte, this is what you have to do. Just like if you want free agents to come to any kind of small market, you have to overpay them. And all you want to say is, well, they should just keep tanking and tanking and tanking. Well, that's just not a reality for a lot of these teams. It's not a reality for these small market teams, even in a year when you can't sell tickets. And also, the Hornets, as things stood before, could have had like $50, $60 million in cap space this coming offseason when like 2/3 of the league is going to have a lot of cap space. What are you buying with that cap space that's better than Gordon Hayward? Gordon Hayward, if he stays healthy, is still a really, really good player. So no, I don't think it's a great contract. And yeah, everyone wants to clown the Hornets for going all in for the 8th seed like they always do. I just don't think it's as bad of a deal as people are making it out to be. And I think Gordon Hayward is still a damn good player.
Well, Zach, I have to disagree with you. Look, I'm all in for players getting their bread and getting their lettuce, but for the Hornets, this was a bad deal. And look, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and Michael Jordan is already thinking about Christmas because if he's going to be this giving, I might have to retire from ESPN and go get back in shape because if he's going to be giving out millions of dollars, I can go out there and go set picks and rebound if he's just in the giving mood. Look, this type of signing is not good. And I understand it's hard to land free agents in a small market. But when you go out there and give $120 million to a guy that's over 30, that's getting up in age, you know, to land a Gordon Hayward, who's, to me, not a number one option guy, it could set your organization back in the future. And I just think with an organization like the Hornets, you did well by drafting LaMelo Ball. You continue to draft young guys and develop young guys and have a great player development, not go out there and spend $120 million on an aging Gordon Hayward who haven't really been healthy.
His health is one of the big flags, right? Of course, the injury when he first got to Boston was a freak injury, but he's had many injuries since then, missed a chunk of time in the bubble. I do always want to compare it, though. If you're spending money on Gordon and people say, you shouldn't be doing that, it's way overpaying him. Well, what else would you be spending that money on? And to Zach's point, their options of what else to spend that money on are not the same as some other teams around the league. So we'll just have to watch and see if he becomes a worthwhile signing for them, and especially his health over the coming years. I do want to switch gears, guys, quickly, though, because a delegation of NBA players, several officials from the Players Association, were at the Vatican today, for a private audience with Pope Francis to discuss their work on social justice issues. The delegation included Kyle Korver and Sterling Brown from the Bucks, Jonathan Isaac of the Orlando Magic, Anthony Tolliver, the Union Secretary-Treasurer, Marco Bellinelli, and Michelle Roberts, Executive Director of the Players Union. Zach, this was your story this morning. What else can you tell us about how this came about and the discussions they had?
An intermediary for the Pope. The Pope, it feels weird to say the Pope and not Contavious Caldwell Pope, but they reached out to the union and said, hey, we really admire what these players have done for social justice and racial inequality. I'd like to have a visit with them, or the Pope would. And look, I don't know what you guys believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. When the Pope summons you, you apparently go to the Pope because everything he says is important for like 1 billion people on planet Earth. So for the players to get a stage like this and an audience like this, no matter what you believe, is kind of objectively a big deal.
Perk, absolutely. I know you agree with me that when the Pope calls, you got to say yes, right, Perk?
Absolutely. And when you think about it, Rachel, it tells you how great of a job these NBA guys, the current NBA guys that are playing, did as far as with what they doing outside of the court as far as their leadership and in social justice, because this is powerful and they got to keep it going. And I love what I'm seeing out of these young leaders and a couple of older veteran leaders. So like Zach said and like you said, when the Pope called, this is a beautiful thing to see, and it just shows that we're moving in the right direction.
Speaks a lot of Pope Francis as well, I think.
Storm and Scott with you on a Monday. Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz agreeing to a 5-year max extension worth up to $195, coming off a postseason where he averaged over 36 points per game. And ditto for Jason Tatum, cashing in 5-year max extension with Boston, also worth up to $195 million for the first-time All-Star in 2020. Lakers agreed to a deal with Marc Gasol, the defending champs, reworking that front court. They also traded JaVale McGee to the Cavs to clear up space for his signing. And the man, he's not even the man, the myth. He's the man, the legend. Adrian Wojnarowski just working like crazy. The draft, free agency, insane. All right. So obviously the Lakers aren't resting on their laurels, right? So they trade for Dennis Schroeder. They add Gasol. They add Montrezl Harrell. What are you hearing about everything they're doing this offseason?
Well, it's pretty rare when a defending champion actually upgrades their bench and upgrades on players who helped them win a title. Rajon Rondo went to Atlanta. Dwight Howard goes to Philly. So they bring in Dennis Schroeder in a trade, a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Marc Gasol, future Hall of Fame center, won a title 2 years ago in Toronto. He comes in now in the middle, and this is a Laker team that around the edges has gotten even better. Rob Pelinka's had a very good offseason here after the Lakers finally won that title with LeBron James, Anthony Davis.
All right, so we don't know where they're going to play. Let's say they do play in the Staples Center, and the other team that occupies the Staples Center this season, of course, being the LA Clippers. And it almost feels like some kind of arms race, like, you know, whatever you do, I can do better. So the Clippers have added Serge Ibaka. He reunites with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, what does that mean for the rivalry going forward?
Yeah, the Clippers have catching up to do, and it always seems like the Clippers and Lakers are competing very often for the same players, but the Clippers wanted to keep some of their key guys. Marcus Morris, they signed to a 4-year, $64 million deal. Markeith's brother, bringing him back was important, and the Serge Ibaka commitment was huge for the Clippers. It gives them a veteran front court player, can play both spots, and they still have more work to do. Luke Kennard comes in from Detroit, who can play both guard spots, give them some good minutes there. And, they still have a few more roster spots. Reggie Jackson, who they signed last year, he's a possibility. He might be able to return to that Clipper bench. But, with Ty Lue, this is a different team now, and this is a different head coach and a little different way of looking at things. But the Clippers know they've got a gap to close with the Lakers.
Really quickly, do you have a sense of how involved Ty Lue is with these personnel decisions, how front and center he is with what's happening there? Yeah,
it's a pretty collaborative place there. Lawrence Frank, Mike Winger, their front office, they spend a lot of time talking with Ty Lue about how pieces fit and how they want to play. And I know that's a conversation they have every day.
It's just so fascinating to have these two teams in the same building. Clippers still trying to battle for the soul of LA, and the schedule comes out December 1st, so we'll see when they play head-to-head.
All right. Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks for all your hard work, Woj. We appreciate it. Up $195 million. Wrap your brain around that one. He's coming off a postseason where he averaged over 36 per. Jason Tatum, also 5-year max with Boston, also worth up to $195 million. First-time All-Star in 2020. And the Lakers agreed to a deal with Marc Gasol, the defending champs, really reworking that front court. They also traded JaVale McGee to the Cavs to clear up some space for the Gasol signing. Nice and busy times right here in the middle of football season for NBA insider Brian Windhorst. So can we start with Giannis, our 2-time reigning NBA MVP, because he enters the final season of his contract, as we all know, but he could sign the Supermax, 5 years, $228 million, to remain with the Bucks. What sort of ripple effect could that have, Windy, on the rest of the league going forward?
Well, Hannah, it's really everything. To be honest with you, we just had the craziest week of NBA transactions in league history, but nothing is more important than waiting on this Giannis extension. If he extends, the Bucks are the gigantic winners of this offseason. If he does not extend, we're going to see a mad rush and dash to prepare for his possible free agency next summer. And if you look at moves that teams have made across the league, whether it's the Miami Heat signing 4 players to 1-year contracts, whether it's the Toronto Raptors tailoring the contracts of their players so that they have more room next year, or the Dallas Mavericks making trades to clear off guaranteed money, those teams believe there's a chance that Giannis may not sign it. And so the whole league, in one way or another, is sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for that decision.
Okay, so let's really play this thing forward now. Let's talk about Anthony Davis, because the whole world expects him to return to the Lakers. So how potentially could what Giannis is doing or ends up doing impact the type of contract that AD ends up getting?
Yeah, it's unusual for AD to delay his re-signing for this long. And one of the things he could be watching